Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Logic Circuit Simulator Pro. Okay, this is a very useful tool which we can use it for mostly for circuit designs and other things. Okay, last time we saw some of the things how circuits are designed and other things we saw. So I just opened up the things and just showing some of the things which we have done and other things. Okay, so this time we are going to see some of the most critical things of how to design a kind of microprocessor and other things. Okay, last time we saw how 16-bit registers are built or how memory elements are built and other things. Okay, today we are going to do a little bit more with specifically to architecture called 8085. This was released in way back in 1985, I think, almost around that time was the first microprocessor which was designed and it was released, and Intel was using the first microprocessor, and some of them like AMD later they got the patent and they started using those things. Okay, this is specifically to some kind of chip manufacturing unit. Okay, the basic idea of a microprocessor is event management. Say you have different kinds of people and you want to do some kind of work or something like that, and you want to do a construction work or any kind of work, then you immediately you get some of the elements, and then after that you do a timing control. So it's a kind of event management. A microprocessor basically does what is called an event management kind of system. So first, some of the elements we want to see what is what is an ALU. ALU is an arithmetic and logic unit. Okay, then we have microprocessor, then we have instruction register and decoder, and 16-bit registers. Okay, 8-bit registers, 16-bit registers and other things. Okay, then you have register debugging, timing and control and other things. Okay, first you have, when you do a designing of a microprocessor, just open up and see. Okay, first thing, when you want to do a designing of microprocessor, you have to design what kind of things you want to do within the microprocessor. Okay, first thing, it has got set of registers. Okay, set of registers are the ones which are like blank papers where you can write something, read something, or do all the calculation work, and then finally put it on a report kind of thing and those kind of things. Okay, so basic registers are the ones which are doing all the calculation work. I mean, where you store some of the, it's like more like a scratch pad or something like that. Okay, so what are the elements within a microprocessor? What are the basic elements within a microprocessor? Okay, you have a set of registers, then you have control elements, then you have timing elements, then you have individual controllers or other kinds of external devices. Okay, these are the basic things. Or external devices can be different kinds of external devices. Okay, external devices are like serial port or a parallel port, or you can have other kinds of external devices like a microcontroller for a serial port, or your keyboard is a kind of microcontroller, your screen is a kind of another kind of device, and your Wi-Fi signal is another kind of device. So different kinds of signals are there, so we don't want to go into the IO kind of thing and other things. Okay, so basically microprocessors got different kinds of registers and you have given all the things. Okay, now we don't have what are the how to construct a register. Okay, first thing, we have to know how to construct a register. Okay, the ALU basically has different kinds of register. One is a W register. Okay, and other one is Z register. Okay, these are kind of things which are used for special purpose kind of registers. Okay, so you don't have to worry about how these things are used. Okay, let's go over some other things. Okay, first thing, you have to know what is a register and other things. So you wanted to see some of the things. Then I wanted to show you a kind of thing which will do all the other things. Okay, first of all, we go into the basic elements. Okay, this is the basic elements of a circuitry. Okay, so first, your microprocessor has got set of registers. What are the different kinds of registers? One, the basic register is called an accumulator. Accumulator is the first register. Okay, what actually it does is some kind of accumulates the kinds of signals, the control structures and other things. It keeps accumulating those things and other things. Okay, mostly for Accumulator is for doing all the calculation work, arithmetic and logic calculations. Accumulator is a kind of addition, subtraction, all these things are division and those kind of calculations. So the accumulator is the one which does all the logic circuitry, the cumulative like adding, subtracting, those kind of functional things and other things. Those kind of holding elements, instruction holding elements, all these things are coming under accumulator. Okay, now arithmetic and logic unit is just the actual kind of addition, subtraction, all those things. Okay, this is the arithmetic logic unit is the one which has all the logic in it. Okay, to do all the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, plus logical and logical or all these things, move byte and all these things. This is the one which does all the calculation work. Status flags are what is the status of when you do an arithmetic operation like an add to thing and you have a carryover, then that carryover status is set in this called status flags registers. These are called registers. Okay, always you use a scratch pad to do calculations. Like you are doing a 2 addition, you need something for a operand and you need something for a where to write the operand, and like a sticker bits you can use all the things. Okay, there are certain conventions which are followed which we don't know how those conventions work. You can look up and other things, but basic understanding is needed for these kind of work. Okay, so it has got an accumulator, we have an interrupt controller. Okay, that is another register kind of thing. Accumulator is another kind of register thing, and then arithmetic logic unit is mostly not a register, but it's a kind of accumulation, kind of logical circuit, so everything is in there. Okay, temporary register, this temporary register is used for, like if you're doing add 2 elements, the first one is put in accumulator, the second one has in the temporary register, and both of them when they are put inside you get the final result which usually get transferred to the accumulator. Okay, you can put it in the accumulator or you can transfer it to a temporary register straight away. So these are the kinds of, so arithmetic logic unit can do both the things of transferring calculation and putting the results in a particular area. Okay, now instructions. Okay, there are 2 different kinds of things. One is an address and data. Okay, data has got 2 different forms. One is called an instruction data form, and other one is called actual arithmetic calculation data. Okay, those kind of data. You can, if with the data you can do 2 things. One, you can instruct something, or you can do what is called an addition or subtraction and those kind of logical operations and other things. So what you have to do is an instruction register. Instruction register is somewhat like it's also a kind of register which you can use it for all the once you have an instruction, it has to be decoded. Decoded is like if you want to add 2 elements. Okay, the instruction register will have 1000011180. Okay, so what does that mean? It means you add 2 numbers. Okay, so that instruction is coded with as a kind of bits. Okay, 1001 something like that. Okay, as a 8-bit kind of thing. So that comes in as an instruction into the instruction register. Now once you have the thing as an add kind of element coming into an instruction register, and the data element has those logical things to do within that particular 8-bit element, then what you have to do an instruction decoder. So what the instruction has to be decoded first in the instruction decoder. Okay, once you have the decoder, then you know what to do. Okay, till the whole thing is not decoded, you won't know what is the kind of instruction that is being given. Whether you want to write into a memory element, read from a memory element, or you want to do a load some of the elements, or you want to do a transfer of some of the things, transfer of data, or you want to do a DMA read write cycle timing, or you want to do a control signal, or you want to send a those kind of or you want to do an addition, subtraction. That instruction, that logical instruction has to be first decoded. Once it is decoded, it gets into what is called a timing and control circuitry. This timing and control circuitry is very critical. They actually start the work. Okay, it is a kind of like what kind of time, like if you were starting a project, then who has to build which area. Okay, the house has to be built, a room has to be built first, then you have to put another room and things like that. So those kind of instructions decoder. So the timing and control signals do all the things. And what are the timing and control signals? Have an X1 and X2. Basically there are 2 clock signals for the timing control. One is for internal purpose and another one is for sending out the time signals to different department. Okay, it's a kind of like sending out signals to different departments, saying that okay, this work is done, this work is done, okay, I've given you so much of time frame, okay, within 5 days you have to build that room, within 3 days you have to paint, and things like that. So those kind of things are the timing element. Second kind of timing element is, so one is for internal calculation timing, another one was giving the time for somebody else to do certain kind of projects. So for painting it's a separate timing, then you have construction is constructing a room is separate time. So these timing things are separated, and the timing and control, how much of control you want to do on the timing structures, those kind of things are done here. Okay, so you have a timing and control, and the different registers are B, C, D, E, H, L. Okay, stack pointer, program counter, and increment or decrement register, and address latch registers. Okay, address latches for address and data separation. Okay, storage and interface unit. What is the kind of storage you want to do? What is the kind of interface unit you want? Okay, BC is a kind of like A was an accumulator, which is mostly for loading all the data elements for doing arithmetic and other kinds of calculation. B and C are the support elements kind of things. Usually all these B register, C register, D register, E register, H register, L register are all support kind of elements, okay, for doing a mathematical calculations or doing a particular kind of logical work. Okay, stack pointer is where you have stack. Stack is like if you want to load a particular kind of set of instructions. How do you do a set of instructions? You cannot do all the instructions, keep it within the register and do all the instructions. Okay, so you want to add 10 elements, say you want to add 10 elements, you cannot do it by registers alone. Okay, because you need 10 registers, 15 registers, you do all the addition, all the things, you have to store all the elements and those. So, and even instructions has to be stored also. Okay, so you need a memory, and for using the memory, how we can store all these instructions and derivatives and other things, taking some of the data stores and things like that, is where you have the stack pointer. Stack pointer is the one which tells you where to go for look into the memory location and download your program and then start your program basically. Okay, so stack pointer is where the particular point, it points to a particular section in the thing where you can use those set of instructions as data. It is stored as a data kind of instructions and other things. Some of the stack pointers have just data alone for addition, subtraction, calculation and other things, but some of our stack pointers usually for doing all this, getting a complete set of instructions and other things. Those are called stored in the stack pointer. It just refers to a memory location, that's all. Okay, so it can have different sections of stack pointer. For addition, you can store some of the instructions within a set of area and say that you can locate the stack pointer to that, and you have another pointer which can do all the logical operations, so you can keep it in a separate stack pointer. Then if you want to do other kinds of operations, then for control and timing, you can have a separate different stack pointer from where you can retrieve the element and use those elements for doing all the stack operation and other things. But program counter is the basic timing circuitry. Okay, program counter is the one which keeps counting like a clock tick. Okay, so to do an instruction, it is a kind of like, say, first you have to take that element, then you have the instructions. Okay, these kind of instructions and other things. The program counter is just does the timing. Okay, so you give the timing to the program counter and then you start the particular kind of instructions. Okay, so the program counter are always ticking. Okay, but depends on what kind of clock is given. Okay, so it starts the timer and increment and decrement. If you want to increment the program counter for some reasons, and you want to decrement the program counter for some reasons, and then store it in address latch or data latch. So usually once you program counter starts, the increment, decrement, all these things are done by, you have to get the next instruction. So the program counter has the current instruction. Usually the program counter has the next instructions. Once a particular instruction is done, the increment decrement register has the next element and other things. So basically once you have the program counter, from the program counter it points to the particular stack element and things like that. Then after that it separates into an address latch and a data latch. So those things are separated as address and data and then stored in the address latch and data latch. Okay, those elements are kind of two latches which are usually used by and two registers which are used for address and data latching. I/O registers we have seen. So microcontroller is basically microprocessor contains all these things, and control is timing by given by this to do all the work. And memory elements is where all the things are stored, where you can get all the instructions, the timing circuitry, everything, and you can use them for retrieving from there and doing all the instruction work. Okay, instruction, the kind of project work and other things you can do. So now we are going back and seeing all the other things. Okay, now I wanted to go back and see the thing. So first thing, the registers are W and another one is Z register. Okay, the W register has a set of you can build a register using a latch or a flip flop. Okay, depending on kind of work you want to do. Okay, usually they are by you can usually use a D flip flop for latching some of the control elements, or you can use a latch or a flip flop, but flip flops are mostly used for fast registers and calculation and things like that. Latch is the one which stores the information for quite a long time. So that is why we use the latch for W, and then you use another one called Z, which is another latch which you have to connect it, and I've shown how other 8. So if we calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 8 registers, 8 register data elements, 8-bit elements are there. So that is you have clubbed all the D flip flops or D latches into that particular register. Okay, so that is how a register is built. If you sequence some of the D flip flops, or you sequence some of the T flip flops, or you sequence D latches and T latches and things like that. Okay, so there are different kinds of latches which you've already seen. So the different functionalities of the latches. So these are the kinds of latches: SR flip flop, D flip flop, JK flip flop, T flip flop, SR latch, D latch, JK latch, T latch, and SR gated latch. Okay, these are the different kinds of latches that are available. Within these things, you are going to use it for registers, register element. We are going to construct a register element, the timing circuitry, plus you have the memory element, and you want the control signals also. Okay, so those are the kinds of things which are done by all these registers. For timing and control, you always use a T flip flop or a T latch. Okay, for all timing controls you use those things. For like a program counter is what it is a time related thing. So you have to increase the counter from one next tick, for the next tick. You have to increase the thing, and the register has to increase, keep on increasing. For those kind of timing kind of control circuitry is all time related kind of thing. So you have to use a T flip flop or a T latch, and JK flip flop can be used for some other thing. SR is for setting and resetting. Say if you want to clear a particular register data element or something like that, then you have to use a set flip flop, SR flip flop or a SR latch. So those they do the basic clearance of the particular data register or an address register and things like that, where you can clear the things and then reset it back to whatever the kind of the setting and resetting a particular data element. Data elements are usually done by D latches. Okay, D latches is the one which uses data kind of elements. It can be a flip flop in case of registers. If you are doing a fast registers, then you use a flip flop. If it is a slow kind of thing, slow kind of element, then you use like a memory element and other things will be done by a D latch. Okay, slow elements like memory element is done by a D latch, and fast registers are done by a flip flop, and all the faster elements which you want to do is done by SR flip flop, D flip flop, JK flip flop, and T flip flop, where timing is critical. When you relate something to timing, then it is done by flip flops. Okay, but when you do calculations and other things, everything is done by SR, JK, T, and D flip flops only. Okay, all calculation, all the storage elements kind of things, they usually do all the latch kind of work. Okay, so these are the basic understanding you have to have. So we are using registers here in the microprocessor, so we have to do always flip flop. Some elements are some kind of latches which you can use, but usually using all the flip flops only. Okay, so now I am hearing some of the D latches, which is actually it should be flip flops. Okay, all these register elements should be flip flops only. Okay, but I am using latches because I want to see some of the circuit simulation and find out whether it's working or not or those kind of things. That is why I have all the D elements. D is the data kind of registry, or the D flip flop or the T flip flop we can use. Okay, so for register elements you use a D flip flop or a D latch. You can use either of them, but latch is more kind of very difficult to use because it's a slow element. So usually you do a D flip flop. So first you have different elements. So first we saw W and H, and now we are seeing B and C registers. Okay, these are called general purpose registers. C and D registers. How they are constructed, I am showing so that you can have a look at what is meant by register. Okay, when somebody says you go into microclass class and then you don't know how to construct even a register from flip flops, then they will tell you, okay, what is this you are doing? I know how to use a multiplexer for those things, how to do the calculation, how to do a register select for something. So this is done. For a selection of registers, there are multiplexers and demultiplexers, which is a kind of timing circuitry which goes in and selects that particular register within a microprocessor. So that is why we have a mux and a demux here, which does kind of selection of the particular register. Okay. So B register, D register, H register, L register, we are all used as a kind of L registers. All these things are kind of D flip flops and D latches. Okay. Now we are going into what is called a stack pointer. Stack pointer, you usually can use a D latch or a D flip flop. Okay. So stack pointer usually has about 16 registers. If we calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is about 16 registers completely serially. Okay, this is the D latch. Okay, you can use it for stack pointer. Okay, it's a data element. You can use a D flip flop or a D latch. So either one of them you can use and use a stack pointer. And for now, once you have done the stack pointer, then you have a program counter. Okay, this is called the program counter. Okay, program counter is called a PC or a program counter. Counter, you usually have to use it for T. Okay, why T is used? T is for timing. That is what you have to understand. Okay, basically T is for timing, D is for data, S for setting and resetting some of the elements. So that is why we have created all the setting and resetting elements down here. If you need a SR, a latch. Okay, setting, if you want to control a set of timing circuitry, then you use a SR latch to do all the control kind of things. So set or reset the particular timing control. Okay. JK flip flops are usually used for specifically to transfer. Okay, specifically if we want to do from a latch to data. Okay, from a latch to a flip flop, then usually you do by JK. Okay, JK is the one which does the transfer, intermediary kind of thing, which can do the transfer. So you want to do a flow from the D latch to a D flip flop, then immediately use a JK flip flop, JK flip flop to do the transfer from a D latch to a D flip flop. Okay, so flip flops will come wherever you want to transfer some of the things and other things, and you want to do the calculations and other things. They are done by your flip flops. Okay, JK. So now we are using for program counter, because it is time related, we are using all T. Okay, T flip flops. Okay, so if you see, it is a T flip flop. Okay, so program counter is always you kind of a T flip flops which you can do all the things. Okay, so it just kinds of counting things and other things. So if you want to see some of the simulation kind of things, if you want to see, now I have given the control circuitry, I turn on some of the things, let's see how the things work. Okay, so how a program counter goes. See, once I started the clock, then after that I switched on the T-latch and gave the timing control for this, and I gave the timing control for the PC. The program counter keeps on counting. See this thing, the T and T changing every time. Okay, so the time is changing. For every second, the first register shows one switch. Okay, the second register shows for 3 of the things, like 4. After 4, this comes. As this is for 8 switches. Okay, 8 timer control up to 8 seconds. Okay, this keeps us as a kind of after 8 seconds is on it. Now this is about after 16 seconds it changes. If you see at this register, it will change only after 16 seconds. Say I count from here. Okay, this is gone black. Okay, now once it comes red, then we'll see how many seconds it takes to change. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So after 12 or 16 seconds only it changes. Okay, like that. When you start counting, the fourth register will say will change only after 16 seconds, because the time I have given is 1 second, and the first register will change in 1 second. This will be in 2 seconds. This will be in 4 seconds. This will be in 8 seconds. This will be in 16 seconds. Okay, so this is how the program counter keeps on counting how much of time you have given allocated for a particular work. The program counter is basically a kind of timer which does all the calculation and gives sends out the signal to them. Now once you have done all the things, then you have to store that particular thing in a program counter. Is where the counter is counting, and you want to transfer that thing into something, so it is transferred into a D flip flop. Okay, this program counter, from the program counter you get it into a D flip flop or a D latch. Then finally you have the data elements for those things. Then you have to do a separation. So this is for address. Okay, this is for address. The D elements are for address storage, and this is for data storage. Okay, data storage is the kind of like, first you have to use a T element, then you have to do a T flip flop. From the T, first you have to do a T flip flop. T flip flop is where the counting is happening. Then from there you have to transfer it to D flip flop, where you have to store it and some kind of information you want to store it. Then you store it here, transfer it here, and from D, if you want to do a transfer, then finally you transfer it at D latch. So now if you see all these three elements, see once this is changed, okay, that particular element is latched here already. Okay, so T is there, the corresponding D is transferred. From D, if I turn on this, then you get a latch. So you want to see a simulation, see I switch it on. So now it is black. So this is T, D, and this is just switching us on and off. Okay, the D. Okay, but it is not stored here right now. The last latch is a kind of latch. Latch means it is, you want to do a storage of that particular event. Okay, when you have an event happening and you want to store, then you turn on the latch, then you see whether the data is stored. Okay, now it's come on. Okay, I want to store the when it is on. Okay, so I immediately see now it is fixed. See, it is latched to that particular register. So that particular time and the particular things, what is the kind of data element is there available on the data flip flop, it is transferred to a latch and it is stored in that particular kind of latch. So it is all timing, what kind of timing that comes in, and once you are done latch, then you can use it as a kind of register to transfer data and other things. Okay, so this completely, if you want to, if you see a program counter, it keeps on going to the next pointer, next pointer, next pointer, next pointer, because it has to do the next kind of instruction which is given in there. So in the memory elements, it goes on pointing out to the next pointer, next pointer, next pointer. So how do you derive the data elements is through a latch. So once you derive the data through a data latch, then you have done all the things. Okay, the particular thing is stored in the data latch, and you could use it for storage, or you can use it for retrieval from the memory into the registers. Okay, this is the basic things, how the timing is stored and other things. Okay, so this is the basic set of registers which you have done all the things. And you have, now the next part is you have to mux and demux. Okay, so basically you are taking a timing, and with that timing you have to start doing some kind of calculation work, some kind of logical operations, some kind of this control operations, sometimes other kinds of operation, IO operations and other things. Then you stop the timing and control, and give the, for the next instruction you release from the registers to the particular timing and control signal. And then now these are called the general purpose register, and some are called the special purpose registers. Okay, B, C, D, E, H, L are called general purpose register, and SP is a stack pointer, and PC are the special purpose registers. And data from the program counter, you derive the data element to get the address and the data. Okay, so data is transferred from the data flip flop to the memory or the storage. Okay, this is just a pointer. Then from the pointer you get all the things, then you derive the data from the pointer, and then you store that particular data into particular location. So the separated into two parts, one is the data part, one is an address part and a data part. So first 8 bits are like address part and the last two bits are kind of data part. Okay, I've given the things from here. Usually it is from the other side. Okay, I've given the timing here, this latch, but usually the program counter starts from the other side. Now once you have to do the other things from the other end. Okay, so the lower bit and higher order bit are different. Okay, now I've just given a temporary kind of things, you can use it later for the things. So I just go back to the other thing. So this is the basic register stuff, registers, how the microcontroller and other things work out. These are general purpose registers. Now this is the basic microprocessor which has got general purpose. Now we go into instruction and decoder. Now once you have an instruction and other things, you have to take the instructions and decode all the informations. Okay, this is the kind of thing. Okay, now I wanted to see how the instruction works and how you decode all the instructions. Okay, instructions come as a kind of two things. One is called an operand, another one is called an opcode. Opcode is a kind of coding. Okay, what kind of operation you want to do. Operand is a kind of where the elements are stored. Okay, I have done from this side to this side because it points to this side because the lowest elements are here. Okay, the lower elements are here. So first it is separated two divisions. One is called an opcode kind of thing, what kind of instructions you want to do, and other one is what is the actual operation you want to do and what are the registers it is going to point to. So these are done by latches or a flip-flop. Okay, this is a register, so it has got a flip-flop. So this is also a register. Okay, instruction register, which is a kind of, the control structures are usually done by opcode and registers. Okay, now once the opcode is there, it is converted, the instruction cycle is there, then it starts the instruction cycle. So first you have to do decoding of the instructions. Okay, this is done by what is called a multiplexer. So here I have done two multiplexers, one for decoding some of the first elements, so you have to give an opcode mask or something like that, and or you can use a multiplexer to do the decoding. Once you have done all the multiplexers, use the multiplexers to decode. The final elements are available here. For the first operation, no operation. The second one is write operation. The third one is a read operation. Those 8-bit registers are available. This is the bus control which is given here. Okay, so each instructions is 8-bit register kind of element, and these 8-bit registers are no operation. So the particular control signals will come on the first. If it is 0, 0, then it comes no op. Okay, 0, 1, then it comes on the second line. So that signal is sent. Okay, so the particular instruction signal is sent to the particular register to do the operations. And what is the kind? So this is called debugs and a mux to do the operation, to select the particular kind of operation from the opcode from the data registers, which is transferred to the instruction decoder. Okay, that is where we saw all the things. Okay, so now to enable or disable, you can have control circuitry. I just wanted to show how the circuitry looks like for an opcode and an instruction circle and other things look like. So basically it gets a set of D registers where the opcode is stored or the kind of instruction is stored, and from the instruction the data part is a little bit, usually the instruction is like move byte 5. Okay, the 5 is stored in somewhere here, and the move byte instruction is stored here, and 5 move byte, the complete cycle for that is stored in that particular thing is enabled. So move byte signal will be say around 16 or 20. So that particular signal is started. So you have the control circuitry coming here as a 20. Then after that you can use it for your signal control T for doing that particular kinds of instruction. So first is instruction decoder. So we saw all the things actually. What is that instruction decoder? We saw here actually. What was the instruction decoder? So last time we saw the instruction register. From the instruction register was the D we saw at the top, and the instruction decoder was circuit element which I showed. From that you give it all to the timing and control circuitry. Okay, that is what. First we saw all the registers. Okay, what are the registers? D element, T element. What is the program counter is done by all T elements. Stack pointer is all by D elements. Then HD, everything is by D flip-flops because they are all registers, they are all done by D flip-flops. Increment, decrement is also done by D flip-flops. Address latches are used by, so once you have the program counter, then you have the address. The address is divided in two parts. One is called an address part and one is called a data part. And from the address latch flip-flops, you're storing into a D latches. Latches will do the actual thing. So the usually data elements are stored for D latches. For timing and other things, you have a T latches, T flip-flops and things like that. Now we are done with most of the things, I/O control. So I/O I'll show you later, but basic things are done here. Okay. So far we have seen all the registers and other things. Okay. Let's go back. So now we have basically done all the control circuitry. Now we have to see what is an arithmetic and logic unit does. Okay. Now we have got arithmetic and logic unit, set of buses. Okay, you have a set of buses. Okay, set of buses. Okay, an accumulator bus, temporary register bus, and you have another things, kind of things, temporary registers and other things. Now the AND logic is the one which is going to do the addition. So it has got two registers. One is the A register and the B register, which is coded. I haven't done the complete registry work for addition, subtraction, what are the different kind of operations you want to do, those kind of things. We'll see that how the ALE works later. Okay. Now we go into microprocessor registers and decoding. Okay. Registers and decoding. 16-bit registers we have seen. Register mux and demux 8085 we have seen. Okay. Now we go into control and timing. Okay. Timing and control. Control and timing is it's a kind of they are called what are called the microcontrollers, which controls whatever is there within the microprocessor. Okay. A set of registers, they control registers and other things. Then this is the timing and control registers. The control registers got different things. One is for control register. There's something called control register. Then you have another register called a status register. Okay. So the control register contains all the timing kind of things which it wants send out to different parts of the registers, different parts of the elements within the microprocessor or outside the microprocessor. So this is a control register which does all the control kind of timing control for a particular thing. Once an opcode is registered, then it is de-encoded in a machine cycle. Machine cycle is something to do with basically to do with timing. Okay. So once this instruction is decoded and stored in a machine instruction, then particular machine instruction is immediately transferred to this controller circuitry, and the controller circuitry immediately knows what you have to do. So this is kind of status register, and all the control circuitry whatever comes from the decoding element gets latched onto these D registers. Okay, this is the D flip-flop where it get latched on, or D flip-flop where the instruction comes in. Okay, address instruction and the data instructions. Okay, once you have the address and data instruction, the control circuitry knows what kind of data it has to take and to do the machine. So the machine cycle is first comes into this D latch and stored in here, and from there the control circuitry, the T elements are the one which does the control element, control signals sent down. Okay, it has got different kinds of things. Okay, first you have to start and stop signal. Okay, say for you doing a load instruction, so you have to start with a particular timer. Okay, from the timer you start clicking. Okay, 5 seconds I have to do this work, 10 seconds I have to do construction of that. So the timing control is given here and it is demuxed, and the timing control is given here onto the register that is called the control register, which is given here, and the results are stored once a particular work is done, and the results are stored in what is called the status registers, which is another kind of timer event which are linked. Okay, so two timing circuitry, T latches and T flip-flops are used for control and status registers. From the status registers it is transferred on to actual D latch where the actual machine cycle and other things are there and the status is stored. Okay, that's the kind of. Now for clocking and other things, you have two clocks. One is an internal clock which does all the control circuitry work. Another one is giving out to the other things. Okay, so this is the kind of circuitry which does all the things. So this is the output, this is the ready input, and once the ready input comes out, then it does all to the message is stored down on the D latches. So this is the kind of circuitry which is actually you can seeing all the things. Okay, not like when you go rough open up diagrams and things like that. This is actually how it looks like within your, when you control a circuitry, this is how actually it looks like. So don't think that it has got oh, they'll tell you, oh, this is a register, this is a register. Register means what? It has to go set of T flip-flops, set of D flip-flops, set of SR registers, set of SR flip-flops, set of kind of SR latches, set of D latches, those kind of things are used. And some of the AND gates, OR gates are used to do all the control circuitry work. Okay, and we use demux, mux and demux to do the timing control, to do the timing for all these things, and then you have to, so DMA control other things. Okay, now these clocks, once they come in, they are decoded by R clocks, the time read time cycle, then you have write time cycle, then you have interrupt time cycle, those kinds are put in this, and the reset time circuits, or if you're doing a DMA, then DMA circuit timing is given here, and then that particular machine cycle is given here. That is what we saw here. Okay, this is okay, where I wanted to show you where is the kind of circuitry that comes in. So this is what is the timing and control unit. Okay, that is what the timing control. Right now we saw all the register within the timing and control unit. Once it comes in, the output is sent to that particular location. So A means A, B means B, those kind of things. Okay, I wanted to see where is the actual thing. Okay. The other circuitries which control elements which you want to know right now. Right now we'll see where are the things. Okay, this is the basic thing. Okay. From the timing clock and clock generation, you get the output right here. Okay, this output which is going in here, that particular control signal is sent to this, say, increment, decrement, address latch. So that particular signal is given to the increment and decrement latch to do that particular kind of work. Similarly, here is sending another signal to what is called a serial IO port. This is another signal it is sending. Now it is sending another signal to what is called instruction decoder. Okay, so it is giving the timing to the instruction decoder. Then it is giving a timing to the instruction register. So this control and data element is giving all the controls to the different elements, different registers, set of registers and other things, and it's sending out signals to each one of those registers and control registers to do what kind of specific, whether you want to do DMA transfer, you want to do a read cycle, write cycle, address cycle, or you want to do an arithmetic operation. These things are all given by the control and timing. Okay, the control and timing sets all these registers on and off depending on what kind of operation it wants. So the control and timing circuit is very critical in designing the entire microprocessor. Okay, first thing you have to do a complete structure of what is that. First you have an instruction. You have an instruction decoder. That instruction decoder is coded into machine cycle by timing and control. From the timing and control, the signals are sent to different parts of the microprocessor to do what kind of operation, whether it has transferred data from B register to the accumulator. So if you want to do a particular, so you have to first send the signal to the B register to enable it, and you have to send another signal to the accumulator to enable it, and then after that, if you want to do a signal, another signal to the data bus or address bus, and say that okay, now transfer the B from the B register, you do it through the data address bus or a data bus, you transfer from the B register, load it onto an accumulator. So the data gets transferred onto the accumulator. The next cycle will do the transfer. Okay, signals are sent to each one of the register elements, and immediately those things come activated, and the data is for the next toggle or something like that. Immediately toggle or a T flip flop. Immediately the whole data is transferred to the accumulator. This is how things are done. Okay. what kind of operation done. And some of the things are interrupt controls. Those are all different kinds of things. The same kind of thing, but it's kind of a little bit different. That's all. Okay. Now we go back. So timing and control is very critical, okay, in designing the timing and control. For every operation, you have to do a timing, okay. For say you want a load operation, every time you have for a load signal, what are the decoding you have to do? First, you have to do the decoding, instruction decoding. Once you're done, you make it as a machine cycle. Then machine cycle is given to the timer, and from the machine cycle the control circuitry signals are sent to the different parts of the registers, different parts of the bus elements, or different parts of other things within the microprocessor. From the things, once the operation done, the status comes back. That status comes back and gets stored in the data register. Okay, this is the basic cycle of how the things. This is kind of like internal structure, how it looks like. Okay, within the microprocessor, how the D flip flops are there, how it is arranged, how it is the mux works, and things like that. So if you just an overall view, then it will be different. But if you do the complete circuitry, then you know how to do the register and the microprocessor design, and what are the things which which are there within the microprocessor, and how. So this is a general overview. Okay, that's all for today. So we saw timing and control. Then we saw register. What are the different kinds of registers? And you have the mux. How the mux, the registers of mux, to get what kind of registers you want to select. Okay, address mux and data mux. Then after that you have the registers, the different kinds of registers, with the instruction register and all the different registers. Then you saw all the arithmetic and logic unit, how it is decoded, and in particular arithmetic and how it is get transferred. So those kind of how it is built. So basically flip flops you have to use, and basically latches you have to use, and within the latches, and then you have a timer. Okay, once you start the clock, the time T circuits take all the clocks and give it to the different elements, and then finish off the work, and then it keeps on doing the cycle back again once and forth. Add, subtract, then you want to move this thing, say 3 plus 4, 4 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 plus 4 is 7, and 7 plus 3 is 10. So the calculations kind of things are done, and the instruction goes on, and it goes into a complete cycle. The microprocessor keeps on doing the work. The PC counter keeps on increasing. And if you want to stop the microprocessor, you have an all signal which is called a reset signal. Once you do the reset signal, a hold signal or a trap signal and things like that, then the microprocessor stops. Okay, till then the cycle goes on and increasing and things like that. Okay, this is just like a weaving machine. Okay, you're just weaving machine. If you want to do a particular pattern, you want to develop a particular kind of a sari or something like that, or you want to do a particular kind of shirt or things coming, and then you have to do the control elements, and you set all the timing circuitries, and then finish off the controllers basically like that. Okay, that is all for today. So you saw the internals of a microprocessor, how it's there, what is the bus register work, what is the bus, what is the data bus, address bus, data bus, and how the registers are made for each one of those, and how the timing is given for the control registers, and I think how the status works, and what is an interrupt controller, what is the kind of things. Okay, that is all for today. Let's see. So I just wanted to give you a detail of what a microprocessor looks like. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.